Welcome to another Gen XYZ show. I'm Pete. I'm the Gen Xer, of course.
And I'm Peter. I'm the Gen Wire.
Wire.
The
Yes.
millennial?
The millennial.
Yeah, you're just a millennial. We call it Y here, but you.
Well, it's like,
you're just a
so
millennial.
I'll just say millennial then in the future. But I feel like everyone's going to be like, well, then why? What is it? Why? Like, I've never been called, Gen Y in my life. We literally look it up for the record.
Right. You have your own special. Of course, you needed your own special category.
Well, what were boomers? Were they Gen? Like they're boomers. So like, you're the first X, I guess, is you guys started the letter trend.
Yes, we and my peers started.
You got me at a meeting and you decided this.
Well, I'm Ashley. I'm a Gen Z, aka better than millennials and Gen X, in our opinion.
Time will tell.
Whatever, Peter.
So this is I don't know if I should save this, but I saw a post earlier this week on LinkedIn. I actually commented on it, and they were comparing it. They lumped Gen Y and Z together, and I thought, no, that's not. You guys shouldn't be lumped togetger.
That's like a 20-year range, though. That's like.
Well, the point of the post was that this is off topic. Today we're going to talk about. This is a part two. It's a continuation of our 4-day work week conversation, which didn't get very far. We got sidetracked as we often do. So I'll just start off getting sidetracked.
That definitely won't happen today.
No, it's going to happen right now. But listen, here's what the post was about. I want your opinions on it. That it was saying that the workforce is changing, right? That freelance is going to become more prevalent, an entrepreneurial way of working, driven by Gen Y and Z. And I thought, I don't think so. Like, I don't think Gen Y and Z have the same freelance spirit. I think that the millennials have expect and demand more of their employers. Like, that's what you guys are known for is wanting, just for lack of a better way to put it, more out of the employer relationship, not less.
More benefits, more, like all that.
More benefits, social consciousness, whatever it might be, right? You want your employer to, associate more meaning with that. Yeah. And the poster kind of combined those two things. And I thought, that's not what having a freelance mindset really is. Where I think Gen Z is more independent, autonomous. You've had to be. You're more, change has been forced upon you. So anyway, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, I have seen a lot of Gen Zers go on TikTok and they're like, I don't want to work a 9 to 5, and they're traveling the world and they're working on their own time by freelancing, working whenever they want, being their own boss. So I could definitely see that.
It's probably more the younger millennials maybe, and then the Gen Z. And it's not, I wouldn't even necessarily say that it's because of desire, but millennials they're having kids now. They have houses and mortgages and they have families. They can't just be, starting over. It's scary. It's hard to start over and start your own company, start your own, freelance, start your own Etsy shop or whatever you're doing. That's all on you. I feel like the comfort of having an employer is what holds maybe some of the older ones back. But I think that, like Ashley said, I see a lot of the Gen Z, and then I'll say the younger millennials that, they're getting into that. And I don't even necessarily know if it's because they want to, or if it's because they've just seen so much, change and turbulence. And they're like, well, I don't know if I can depend on an employer or whatever. So I'm just going to depend on myself, type of thing. I mean, that's what I've seen, at least.
For sure. The Gen Z doesn't probably feel collectively like they can rely on much or trust much from those who came before them, right? I mean, that's justified.
Just COVID on its own, the entire world has changed in the last 5 years. So just leading up to it, and I think that we're going to see a lot more of that going forward. I mean, from people I've talked to.
All right, let me go further off topic since you mentioned the C word.
All right.
So COVID, I've seen 3 articles, I think maybe even one on LinkedIn, definitely on Twitter this week about COVID is back. It's back, baby. What
I didn't know it went
What do you mean by back? What do you mean?
that masks are coming back, that COVID, like I'm seeing vaccines being pushed again. You haven't seen this stuff just in the past like week and a half. And so my question is, are you going to buy into that? Like, can you buy into that? I mean, you guys
is it any different than like flu season is back? It comes every year. Like,
that's true. That's true. I did get an email saying, "Oh my God, you have to go get your flu shot." So maybe it's just like.
Yeah, I mean, people get sick. People have been getting sick from COVID. It seems like I at least know someone related that's been sick like pretty consistently. I would say like the only people I've seen really that are like consistently like wearing masks and stuff are people who are like sick, like actively sick, which I would say stay home. But yeah.
It's, I mean, I've seen it like a college in Georgia is making their students wear masks. I saw that was one of the articles. Some company, I wish I could remember the name, that was another one of the articles, is now enforcing masks again. And I've seen, like I said, that this is, that like there's warnings and like COVID's going to be really bad, and there's a new vaccine coming out. Like, I get like your faces tell me that this was really my question.
I'm hearing of this, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like the last variant supposed to be bad, and then the one before that was supposed to be bad, and like, I mean, it quite literally, like I have the people I know, it's no different than getting the flu, and I know I'm biased. I'm not the people who would be more affected. I'm not hanging out with older people, immune compromised people, but the people I know, my friends and people around my age, they just get like the flu and they're sick from it.
Yeah, I mean, I think last month I wasn't feeling well. I think I had the flu, but then I was like, is it COVID? Like, I don't know. They all feel the same.
My wife was sick. She took one of those rapid tests. She didn't.
I didn't go out when I just stayed home. I didn't feel well, so I was home anyways. So.
All right, so so not happening. No,
I guess we're not tapped in with the.
You're not buying in again. That's okay. So all right, I think I know where you stand on that. That's good. Dylan said not happening. No. We said COVID were demonetized. Well, that is I guess the good part about not being monetized in the first place is you can't be demonetized.
I can put my masks that I bought back into rotation because I had like 7 or 8 like masks that I paid like $5 for each. So
no, that's okay. You don't need to do
if we're all gonna get COVID, can we switch to a 4-day work week then?
Right. So
back on track. Okay.
The 0-day work week is what I think is being encouraged with that. So look, I won't make comments on anyone getting tested. Go nuts, do your thing. Right. But in the meantime, here we are trying to figure out how many days we're going to work. Yeah. So I offered the option to extend this another week to convince me that a 4-day work week is the way to go. So if you did your homework, now's the time. Let's hear it. Build your case.
All right. Well, can I start off by showing a TikTok video? And this guy is pretty much explaining how it's not only beneficial to the employees, but also to the employers. So let's see what your thought is, Pete.
Ashley's I didn't do research, but I have a video for them to explain why it's good.
Gen Z?
You know what? Hold on. That is a classic Gen Z, right? Like I went and found a video, presumably on what, TikTok? Video to make your case. So okay, so let's have
random, is the new Google.
Let's have random TikTok dude tell me why we should have a 4-day work week. Go ahead.
I think the information is valid. So let's see what he has to say. All right. Turn the volume on.
I know how to increase productivity. How? 4-day work week. One less day of work is not going to help with productivity. You just want an extra day off. No, I want 7 days off. But a large study was done and the results show that a shorter work week is very beneficial for employers. You mean employees? No, employers. The average company revenue went up by 38% after switching to a 4-day work week. How is that possible? When employees aren't burnt out and feel less stressed, productivity goes up. Interesting. Anyways, I need you to complete these assignments. I need them back ASAP. So we're not going to switch to I'll get this back to you in 3 to 5 business days. Wait, what if I give you Friday off? Oh, you want that overnight shipping? I'll get this back to you expeditiously. They'll be on your desk tomorrow morning.
So, a major study, or was it a big study? I'm not sure. The ambiguous. No,
I think that was the Japan study, because that's the only one I could find that actually had numbers, and it was the Microsoft study, which is
there's always a study, right? The study. It's the study. The study showed 38%. Oh, 38% of what? Based on what? Of whom? In what time frame? Give me some facts. So, I mean, I'm gonna say, Ashley, you got to bring something stronger than that.
Tried. Well, at least someone said.
I mean, listen, not that a guy playing himself and his boss isn't compelling argument. It is. It's compelling.
But I guess what he was trying to say is, okay, employees aren't as burnt out since they have 4-day work week, thus more company revenue, thus happy boss.
I did like how he was like, you just want an extra day off. It's like, no, I want 7 days off, but I'll settle for an extra day off. At least he's honest.
So employees aren't burnt out. So let's talk about that for a second. Then what does that mean? Employees aren't as burnt out. So you get more time off. So am I the only one that I just went on vacation a couple weeks ago? And when I really get into vacation mode, I'm like, you guys know I work a lot, right? I think. And that's the mode that I'm in. I work early, I work late, I work on weekends, just what I do. But when I go on vacation, I forget like what that feels like, and that's good. But then I have a difficult time getting back into it. So the longer I'm away, the harder it is to get back. Where if I stay in that mode, like things in motion tend to stay in motion, I don't lose it.
I feel like, okay, maybe that's a Gen X thing because you guys always like work super hard, and then Gen Z, I feel like we're kind of like ADHD. We like doing a bunch of things at once, so we never really get lost on track. So I feel like when I go on vacation, I come back, I'm ready to go. Like, I'm like, wow, like I haven't worked in a while. Like I kind of miss it. Like I'm organized, I'm ready to go. Like I missed it. I kind of missed it, which is crazy because.
Well, are you saying that you don't know how that Pete effectively takes vacation better than you because he actually like disconnects, whereas you're like maybe checking your phone, maybe check your email. So you're not actually out of it. You're like, so when you jump back in, you're like, I kind of always knew what was going on. Whereas Pete's like, no, don't call me. And then like you can actually get back in.
I mean, sometimes I will. I mean, since I'm always on my phone, again, another Gen Z thing, it's kind of like I have the Zengig TikTok on my phone. I look at it on the weekends, even though I'm not working, just because it's just like, maybe it's my mind, how it works. But I feel like if I am on vacation, I don't want to be disturbed. It doesn't mean that when I get off on vacation, it's like I didn't enjoy that. Like, I don't know how to explain. You threw a curveball at me, Peter. What do you think, millennial?
Hey, you just came back from vacation, a long one.
Yeah. So were you ready to go back to work?
Am I ready to go back to work? No, I'm never ready to go back to work. I'll say that. It wasn't hard. I mean, I would say it took me a little bit of time to get back into it, but more because I just had a million emails to read through and stuff. Not like I didn't really know what was going on, because we have things like Slack and we have things like email. So like I had like a low level knowledge of what was going on while I was out. Maybe, you can make the argument that I didn't fully like disconnect with her, but like I wasn't sitting there answering emails. I wasn't doing, having meetings, like, write reports, anything like that. So I did have I just had to kind of dig myself out from that. It wasn't like I felt like I was out of it and it was hard to like get back into the groove. Like, I feel like I just picked up where I left off.
I feel like when you don't disconnect, you're not as like stressed to come back or that fearful to go back to work. Again, like if I check social media and see that's going well, or check my emails and make sure that everything's well on my end, I feel more confident in going back to work. Whereas if I'm not checking anything, oh yeah, I'm going to be anxious to go back. What am I going to go back to?
Yeah, you get the Sunday scaries. You're like, I don't know where I'm going. But whereas if you're just always, aware of what's, and I get that's totally true. I don't necessarily think that a 3-day weekend is enough time for me to If I was off on Friday and I had Saturday and Sunday and coming back on Monday, I don't think that's enough time for me to be like, whoa, where am I coming from? I don't know what's going on. Like, that's just one more day to do, for me personally, I'd say if I had 3 days, I would get a day to do chores and things around the house that I feel like end up taking up my Saturdays or Sundays, and I don't get to relax as much as I would, the other week.
We did get a comment from Holly saying providing a 4-day work week can help you attract a better candidate and be more competitive in the market. It's an added benefit at no cost to the company.
See, I know Pete's going to say, well, there is a cost to the company.
What's Pete going to say? Go ahead. Say it for me.
You're going to say that there is a cost.
Well, there's a cost of productivity, right? There's a cost of work being done. There's Ricky, who I spoke with after, he was making a lot of comments last week, and I don't know if he's on with us today since he hasn't chimed in yet. And knowing Ricky, if you're watching, he'd be commenting that he said he wanted to correct you guys, I think, more than me. And he said that it's not a 40-hour week still. That when you talk about a 4-day work week, it's a 32-hour week. Yeah, and we're not talking about nurses and shift work. We went down that path a little bit, but generally speaking, when someone proposes a 4-day work week, they're referencing a 32-hour week. So I would say that loss of productivity is inherent. And it's a different case to be made if you're saying, hey, I'll work 4 10-hour shifts. That's an entirely different deal. That's a matter of scheduling and operational challenges. But if the case I would like you guys to make, if you're willing or able, is can you be more productive in 32 hours than you are in 40? And if so, why? And why is that good for a business?
I think you can. Yeah. So if you say you have X amount of energy, say, and I can expend my energy, I can run a sprint or I can run a marathon. If the marathon, if I have to run 10 miles, I got to pace myself over this to use up my finite amount of energy. If I make it a fifth less, I can run a little bit faster for those and make it more of a sprint and less of a marathon. That's the simplest way I can put it.
Would you contend that sprints don't go as far?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, the same amount of energy is being used is what I'm saying.
Okay. But as a business, right? So Holly, why do hours matter? They matter to customers. Who need someone to answer the phone and solve their challenges. I think they matter to hourly workers for sure, right? So if you have salaried workers getting 32 hours and being paid the same salary,
though, right?
What's that?
Isn't 4-day work week is what we're talking about is more salary than hourly?
Well, I mean, so a lot of businesses have both, right? So they're not all or nothing. You don't have all salaried employees versus all hourly. So if you're the business making that decision, you have a choice to make. Do you then let your hourly workers only work 32? And if so, do you pay them more do you pay them 20% more to compensate for what is being taken out of their pocket?
No, but I would also say that 4-day work week is not necessarily would not fit everybody. And I think we mentioned it, touched on last week of the customer angle is a huge one. And I totally agree with that. It could be easily overcome by shift work, having, shift A work Monday through Thursday and shift B work Tuesday through Friday.
So
that's my solution.
So let's put up Holly's question and talk about that for a sec, because that's an interesting one I'll put up. If your team can finish in 10 hours instead of 20, why would they need to work 20? Okay, that's a good question. So as a business owner, if I would say that how much work, there's no cap on the amount of revenue I want to drive and achieve, right? The more, the better is how I would answer that. And it depends on how I'm compensating. So if we work with freelancers at times and we pay for projects to be done. So if that's how I'm compensating someone, then I don't care if you finish a project in an hour, or if I'm going to buy a car, for example, right? I don't care how long it took to build the car. If I say this car is worth $30,000 to me, that's what it's being sold for. I'm not worried about how long it took to build the car, right? But if I have a business to run, and in a competitive business like a staffing company that we're in, where time is very much of the essence. And I would argue that our job is never completed as an entity, where you in sales and recruiting, there's no point where you ever push away from your desk at the end of the day and say, I've done all I can do. There's no more to do. There's no way to increase business. There's no way to take better care of my candidates, to cultivate deeper relationships with clients. Like, I have done all I can do. And I can say in my entire career, I've never said that. I've never walked away and said, I'm done. I've chosen to stop working for the day for various reasons, right? Life outside of work, being the biggest one, but there's always more to do. So those kind of issues are, I think, what companies have to consider with this, is balancing what makes sense for the individual, the individuals that make up their team, and the health of the business as a whole, considering clients, or in the case of a staffing company, your candidates as well. So what do you guys think about that?
No, I agree. The sales, I'll say that I think that certain industries, it definitely is more feasible than others. Like sales, I don't think it's really
like
feasible at all.
My friend just got into selling health insurance. She just started working Saturdays. She only has like 1 day off of the week, not even, because she's making money only based on commission. So she has to constantly be on the grind, or she's not making money. So day offs really don't count in her book, or else she's not working hard enough to get commission, basically. But I feel like, again, that's just in that industry where you have to work really hard and put in those days to reach out to clients, to get people, or else it's not going to work out.
If you work at a company that's got a definite start and end type of thing, like you said, project, I think that's where it's a lot more of a thing you'll see. I mean, I worked at a distribution center. We had trucks come in, we had trucks go out. We did not receive them during certain times. If I get a truck in, if I can unload that truck in 30 minutes, or if I can unload that truck in 3 hours, it does not matter, because another one's not coming for a certain amount of time. So, the more efficient I am, the better. And if I can get it done quickly and go home early, then, that's great. I think that's something that where you go home for the day, there's nothing else to do. You've done everything for the day.
And that's where the imbalance comes in for businesses who have to make these decisions. Just look at a small company like ours. We have the core of our staff are sales and recruiting, right? Who operate on a certain schedule in a certain way. And to the point that I was trying to make a few minutes ago, there's no real ever being done. There's always more that you could do. It's just a matter of where you draw that line. But then we have administrative, marketing, finance, and everyone has different responsibilities. So to make it a one size fits all plan that's tough, right? So if you said, hey, I want to have a 4-hour work week, for salespeople, what does that even mean? I mean, why would the salesperson want that, right? They're taking money out of their own pocket by working fewer hours.
I'm curious if the companies that, did it, like, was it by department? Was it like, say the IT department, or say that's the programmers who are working on it now?
Something.
They the 4 days, and then everybody else is not, and it's just the function of your job. Some jobs work 4 days, some don't, and you can.
Because I'll say, like, if I was in sales, I would have that mentality where I'm like, I can't have a 4-day work week. Like, I want to make money. Like, how else am I supposed to get commission if I have an extra day off? Like, what am I doing? So I feel like it all depends. Again, like, I feel like if you're in marketing, you can have your content scheduled out for that day that you're going to be off. Huge difference.
So, all right. So let's use that then, right? Marketing. So it's easy. So we can all, the sales arguments, you could say, is an easy one, on the side of arguing against a 4-day work week. Marketing. You could have your content completed.
Yep.
Shouldn't you do more content?
I mean,
sometimes you can, even if you have your content completed, like sometimes you can even push for a little bit more. Like, it just depends. Some days you're in like a creative zone and you can plan out August, you can plan out September. And then if you have the day off, like, then Monday you can plan out like October. So I feel like for marketing, it's much more easier, much more organized. There's, you can use tools like ChatGPT to help you out. I feel like there's like resources out there to give you that push.
I want to bring up kind of a comment that we had last week on this is, so, okay, sure. You've got everything you've got your workload and maybe even then some done. And you're like, all right, yeah, you could do more. Why should I do more? Am I getting paid more to do more? No, I'm not. So I'm, is it what's worth more to me? That extra day off in my work-life balance, which we've already established is something very, near and dear to my generation and to Gen Z. So why should I work an extra day at work if I'm already ahead of schedule? I'm just doing my job and I've done what I need to and I'm not behind and all of that stuff. Then why should I go do extra work if I could instead take that day off and go take care of chores that I need to around the house? Like, why?
It's kind of like what Holly just said too. I mean, there's constant trends coming out where you have to keep up with it. Why am I going to also plan months in advance where I'm going to get behind on trends basically? So I guess, with automation to plan our content, yes, it makes it easier, but we don't want to keep throwing content out there or else we're going to be behind on what the new trends are.
Yeah. So with marketing in particular, there's so many different, each job function is different, each department, each industry, each company. We know that. I'll tell you my answer for marketing in particular, since that's something I spend a lot of my professional time on. There's so much to learn. There's so much to consume. I have a list of articles I'd like to read, books I'd like to read, new things every day that I see on Twitter and LinkedIn that I put aside and I never get to because I run out of time. It's that quadrant of what's important versus urgent. My world, for the most part, is never really gets out of the important and urgent box. I never get to a lot of things that I consider to be important but aren't urgent. I don't have enough hours, right? I don't have enough hours to be the best marketer I can be. I feel that every day. So that's my marketing argument.
So do I get an extra day to just read and just watch videos?
Well, that's another thing. Let's just say you're really, really passionate about marketing and you're really curious and you want to find out all these strategies and you want to be better, and say you run out of all the time in the day while you're working. On your day off, if you really are that passionate about it and you really want to learn more, you're sitting at the pool, open up a book, start reading about marketing. You can dedicate your off time to it too. I mean, during my off time, can't say it was long hours, but I, tried getting my HubSpot marketing certification. I didn't dedicate too much time off my hours to do it, but I still did it because I, really wanted to get it and, see how I could better myself. So I feel like,
by Pete's justification, if I go back to school and I go to get a master's in marketing, my night classes that I'm taking, I'm working. That's work because I'm learning marketing. So, am I working a 60-hour week then because I'm going to 10 hours of classes or 20 hours of classes outside of my 40 hours?
Well, so separate it from the employee versus the employer, right? I being forced to do something versus choosing to do it. That's a different discussion. Probably we shouldn't blend those things together because I could work as little or as much as I want to. I'm in a situation where these things, when I think of marketing, I want to be better. I want to consume more. I want to have more knowledge than I do today. I want to continuously improve. So Peter, you asked that rhetorically, right? Why should I do that? Why should you do anything, right? Anything you do, in my opinion, you should do the best of your abilities. Why? Yeah. Well, pride is one. Success that comes with as a result of being better tomorrow than you were today is part of it. Now, if there's no reward for it, and how you as an individual see reward is different. Yeah. Right. That from one person to the next. So I get that too. If you say there's no benefit to me from doing, working 8 hours versus 9, I'm going to be paid the same. I'm not going to be rewarded anymore. I'm not going to achieve more, learn more. Okay. That would be then it's, whenever, I think of why Zengig exists, the message for there would be, you're in the wrong job. Like, get out of that job, because it's good to be in a situation where you feel a sense of reward, whether from internal, external, whatever it might be, financial, professional. If you can't define that, if you can't say, if that is just a rhetorical question, you're in the wrong job. Like, move on.
Holly brought it up. I think that, what if, I'm looking for a job and I specifically picked this career, whatever this, intangible career is, because it gives me more flexibility. Because while there is reward to me doing extra and I could get promoted, or maybe spending time with my son at home is more rewarding to me. And so that extra day, that is a better benefit. So I view that. So I actually do like my job. I'm just not going to try and, go crazy on it, because it allows me to live the lifestyle I want. And I think that's where we see a lot of, with millennials and Gen Z, that shift happening.
So this person did say, would each of you rather work 10 hours a day for 4 days a week, or 8 hours a day for 5 days a week? Curious about what each generation thinks.
I did 10 hours a day for 4 days a week for multiple years. And I actually liked it, because it was nice to have a 3-day weekend every weekend. I don't think I would want to do a 12-hour shift like, healthcare. Although a 3 days a week and 4 days off does sound tempting. I think after on some of the longer days where I did work 12, I don't think I could do it on a regular basis.
I feel like, right now I'm experiencing 8 hours, 5 days. I don't mind it. I like it. I, get off work. I still have like a life. I feel like I'd have to try the 10 hours a day for 4 days a week. I do love me a 3-day weekend, but I feel like I can't say an answer for sure just because I haven't experienced it, I guess. I don't know. I'd have to see.
It's really not that much different. It's a little bit, an hour on the bit. It goes by really fast once you get in the groove of it. That is one thing I do miss. That 4-day work week of just a little bit longer. You just push through it and you're done.
I've it'd be like 5:30 and I could log off, but I've been like doing a project and I don't want to log off because I'm OCD and I need to get it done. So I've worked a little bit longer than 8 hours, and I didn't.
Well, you consider if you're working at 10 hours.
Shopping after.
If you work 10 hours, you end up working 10 and a half hours or maybe 11. And that was, you got to prep for the next day. So it ends up bringing a little bit more, but I personally thought it was great.
What about you, Pete? What do you think?
You know what I think. You know what I'm going to say to that without even saying anything, right? I'm like, who only works 8 hours a day?
Can I show you one more negotiating TikTok?
Well, okay. but look, this is make the case, though, right? We got to bring us back to point from the question is whether businesses should do this, right? Not whether individual employees want. Now, Holly made the case that a business has to decide what they'll offer to attract talent that they need. And I think her case was that if you offer better options, then you get better talent. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
There's a line, right, where you have to still operate to be profitable as a business, whatever that means, or achieve your business goals, whatever those are. So I think that's the balance that every organization looks for. And it's not easy, right? It's because you go, hey, would I like to offer my employees everything that they would want? Sure, who wouldn't? But that's also there's a level of pragmatism that has to be applied, and that's where the challenge comes in.
We're simplifying a very complex subject. We're like, should you do it? There's like 70 different variables for each company. So,
Jackie, well said. Comment she just had, which was flexible work week for all. Let the driven and passionate ones survive and show their true colors while the weak ones fall off.
Yeah, that's. I think, Jackie, you may be surprised to find out how that shakes out. I'll just leave it at that, right? I don't. It would be an interesting thing to say. It would be an experiment that I am in no way willing to implement. To say everyone work as much as you see fit. It's like one of those places where you pay whatever you think is fair. right?
Yeah.
Like I can't even think of an example. I just know some places like that exist.
I've
Yeah,
heard
like
of
the farmers markets, and like I just went and visited my wife's family. There's a farmers market by there, and it's literally just like a self-serve, like take 2 tomatoes and you put whatever you got,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what happens when people leave their Halloween baskets out and say
Take all the
darn
candy.
it, right?
You're saying people are
Take all the
awful and
candy.
they're going and they're just gonna when not watched, they're gonna do just the wrong thing.
Someone
No,
took my basket before.
I'm just saying, like, it's just, it's anarchy at that point, right? Like, I'm not like, listen, run the experiment, we'll see it, and then we can talk about it.
We're not going to be the guinea pigs on that.
We're not going to be the guinea pigs.
No.
All right, play your video.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. Hold on. Let me add it here.
Come on, Veronica, I can't hear you.
You guys are going to love Veronica. Here we go.
Okay, we really need to bring up productivity, please. So why don't we just switch over to a 4-day work week? What? We're behind the times. A bunch of other countries have already done it, and they've conducted research showing that it resulted in higher revenue, higher productivity, reduced burnout, better work-life balance, increased physical health, less fatigue, overall happiness. Wait, really? When you give people more flexibility and time to just, I don't know, live their lives, right? They're gonna be more productive. Okay, but I don't think we can. I went ahead and checked the policy, and it looks like we do have the power to ask and negotiate for a 4-day work week. A 4-day work week sounds amazing. All right, why don't we go ahead and test that, right, Susan? Let's go ahead and test it and see if everyone's more productive. Okay, all right, anyways, it's my break time. Okay, all right, thank you, bye.
Her voice is something.
Okay, so I'm not sure. Wait, what was?
So can
What face
you?
was being made? Because she looked like she was going through some sort of withdrawal.
Was she for it or against it? I'm confused.
She was for it, and I guess she also made the point that employees have the right to ask, like.
Okay, but
She probably had the right to ask anything, sure.
she was portraying herself as the worst possible employee, presenting that case in the worst possible way. So I'm not sure, like, if that is your MO for 4, yikes! Like that, not a strong case.
I don't think I'm gonna win.
Destiny showed up.
TikToks are like that.
Destiny showed up in the chat, and she said that she was, doing her homework. She was going to come prepared to state the case. Let's hear it. No one seems to like Veronica, by the way. So hopefully that was a spoof. I don't know.
Well,
Her
I mean,
voice is-
when we first started this whole thing, Pete tried to do his homework and he said he couldn't find any articles that were against it. They were all for it. So it seems like the world is against Pete in this.
Well, here, okay. I have one TikTok video. This is the last one where, again, UK case study, they did it. And this guy is saying that it's bad. Like, people on their day off are partying, drinking. Like, they came back, they weren't productive. Like, they all got really, really bad. Like, it's just not good. So I don't know if you guys want to see that one, but
How's that different than a weekend, though? I mean, what people do on their day off is their day off. So
it hired alcoholism apparently. So
okay.
yeah,
You're not selling this very well, I have to say.
well, we have to do both cases. We have to, I'm curious myself. Like, is it actually good? And this video is kind of like, okay, I could see it not being that good. So, yeah, this one. I hope you guys can understand him. He has like a thick accent, but it's pretty cool.
The UK is introducing a 4-day work week. Here's why this is a terrible idea that is going to encourage laziness and degeneracy. Now, I totally get why this is a popular idea, especially for young people. More time off work could equal more time to spend with family, more time to go to the gym, or more time to go and start a side hustle. However, if you look at what the majority of young people do from Friday to Sunday, realistically it's going out partying, getting drunk, taking drugs, and making bad decisions. So by changing the work week from 5 days to 4 days, all you're really doing there is giving people an extra day to make poor life decisions. Plus, if you think about it, the workload that's put on employees isn't going to change. So there'll be way more added stress to fit 5 days into 4 days, especially after a 3-day bender.
So everybody, first of all, adults need to go to daycare because we're basically, if kids are out on the streets, they're going to be making bad decisions. That was that guy's argument.
Okay, so Ashley, your research, it just is showing it's not convincing anyone of a 4-day work week. We know that.
That was the one video I found on TikTok that was against 4-day work week.
So there's not any argument against it either.
Stay in the office.
That was the best you could find.
That's the message. Stay.
I had
healthy
to
and
find
safe in the
one
office.
good argument. And I mean, I guess it also depends on the person. What are you going to do with your time? Are you going to be making bad decisions, or are you going to start that side hustle that you've always wanted to do?
Well, some people are, as we see in the comments, are capable of making bad decisions on work days as well. So we appreciate that. Okay, so our chat is sort of taking a turn of its own about midday off. Here's a challenge for any business. How do you structure that? How do you staff it? How do you keep the same flow of business going without just making life unnecessarily difficult? And I think the way to do it, if it were going to be done, would be to have like the whole business world would have to buy into it. I think that's the only practical way, I think, to do it. So get everyone in. No one's making calls expecting someone to be in the office on Friday. Okay, if that case can be made, then I'd go, yeah, all right. I guess like we can do that. I think that then I could be convinced. But I don't see that. It's just not going to happen.
Well, the problem is one of the biggest arguments for that is that you need a day to get your errands done and stuff. If all the other businesses are closed, I can't go to the bank if the bank is also closed on my day off. So
Holly and Dylan's agreeing with her. So here's the problem with that. So if Peter has a job, Peter does, it doesn't matter what he does, but if he's off and he's in an important role, and there's no one to cover for him, then the work doesn't get done. So that creates inherent delay. Mm-hmm. So either Peter's unnecessary because he can take off in the middle of the week and we don't miss him, or he is necessary and we have to, our whole business suffers by Peter not being there. Or like when someone like Peter takes vacation, which he recently did, someone has to cover for him and he has to share all that information and here's what you need to do. And it creates a burden in the business for others or the business as a whole, depending on the role that he's in. And that's not practical to do on a weekly basis. It's not, you can't tell it says, oh, Peter has to work 5 days, but no one else does. Right. So the rest you
gotta have two people,
Exactly.
it's you gotta have two people for every single job because, there's gotta be some overlap there. And it's not feasible for small businesses.
Well, there is no. So, Peter, this. I probably spend as much time with you as anyone else, right? And so, by default, I could cover for a lot of things you do, but I can't.
But you got your own stuff to do,
and I have my own stuff to do, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to cover for you. I want you to cover for you on Wednesday.
I'm not arguing with that point, and I think that. To have it done, it's got to be, depends on the industry, depends on the role, depends on the size of the company. And, if you can feasibly do, like I think shift work is really the only way you could do it. Half the people are off on Monday, half the people are off on Friday. And then you've got to have some sort of like coverage there. But I think that all of that needs to be taken into account. You can't just say, all right, well, business is closed on this day and we're the only business that's done, without having, if there are repercussions, you got to accept them. Just like we talked about Chick-fil-A closed on Sunday, and they make that as a conscious decision for, that's who they are. And they're not gonna, and all the people who want chicken on Sunday don't get it.
So I really like and appreciate what Des just said. It was that, of course, employees are going to make an argument, right? If you make a case, would you like to work less for more money or the same money?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to say no to that? I wouldn't say no to that.
Yeah.
Right. I would love to work not at all.
Yeah. I want a 0-day work week.
You paid a lot more money. Right. I mean, I've told this story, said this so many times that if I'm offered, the job of quarterback for the New England Patriots at $25 million a year, I'm out. right? That today I'm out and I'm going to go play football for a living and not apologize for that. Okay. But that offer is probably not coming each year. I wait for it. It doesn't happen. So we'd all like that. But as in a business, why would the business do it? So before we close, that's the case. So make your case right now. Why? Not why it's great for employees, but why would the business benefit from a 4-day work week? And we're not talking 410s. We're talking giving every employee work 20% less than they do right now.
You get better retention, better recruitment. I'd say that's going to be the strongest argument for it. It's a perk like any other, that if you offer it, you can demand higher standards from your employees, because there's always a line out the door of people who want to work at your place. You can, that's what I would say is the biggest tangible benefit to a business is if you're a software development company, you can get the best ones because you're offering the best benefits. So that's my argument.
I'd say maybe like the workplace culture is better. In some cases, again, the business might make more money because that employee is essentially more productive, again, not burnt out. So, but again, that might not be the case for every business. So it really depends on the business and if they're willing to take that chance.
Yeah. So what's your argument against? What's your closing argument against?
My closing argument against a 4-day work week?
Yeah. You seem to be set, your mind is set.
I think we've heard it many times, though. I think we all know.
What is it?
It's, not good for business. Employees aren't, going to be as productive, and, they could be doing more, could be making more money, but they're not, because they're not working that much.
Well, so it's a couple things. It's about what is expected by clients, right? What's needed to be competitive in the market. So we're in the staffing business. It is a just-in-time business. It's a real-time business. We get a new opportunity at 4:48 on Thursday afternoon. And no one's working tomorrow. We're going to lose that opportunity. So that's not it's not a good business decision. It's a matter of coverage. It's a matter of that's enough. But by the way, right? But here's the thing that I'm offering someone to convince me of is that Dylan, is it good for business? Yes, being accessible to your clients is good for business. I feel very strongly about that. Being faster than your competition is good for business. The productivity question is one that it doesn't resonate with me. It just doesn't. I work 6 days a week more often than not, and I would argue I'm more productive as a result. That's my personal experience with it. I don't get I will work more in 32 hours than I will in 40. Why? Why? Tell me why.
I think it's if you subscribe to diminishing returns or not, because I would say that you're probably not as productive as you think you are in 6 days as you could be if you focused all that energy into maybe 5 days.
So let me stop. So let's break this down one at a time because you were going to keep going. I think we just recently completed a very cumbersome project that we were both on. Tell me why I would have done more on that project to have it done sooner if I had worked fewer hours.
Well, are you saying that it nonstop worked for 6 days on it and you didn't burn, and after you're saying you could have gone 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, and it's just you're gonna be able to keep going at the same level, at the same rate? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the only reason I didn't do that is we're not talking sleep, eating, those sort of basic fundamental needs, but I was compelled to finish it as quickly as possible, right? You know that. The only reason I didn't work more is because I have outside interests, right? A family to see, friends, that sort of thing. But otherwise,
that project also had a tangible end.
It did have an end, so the question is: was working fewer hours going to get to the end faster, or was working more hours consecutively going to get to the end faster?
I think it's the same amount of work regardless. If you wanted to burn out and do, a bunch of...
No, don't say burnout. No one's talking about burnout. We're talking about productivity. and finishing the project.
What I'm saying though is if you wanted to work a lot more time to get it done and just get it done, and you
I didn't want to do it at all.
Yeah,
It needed to be done. It was a matter of which was going to complete it faster. Fewer hours or more hours?
Well, more hours is going to get it done faster. That's
okay.
That's obvious. But what I'm saying is the amount of productivity, the amount of lines per day you could get through, if you're going indefinitely, is going to decrease. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I think that after a certain amount of time, like people, like if you don't have an end date like that, something like that is driving you, I think that you can only push yourself so much, and workers are only going to push themselves so much. So I think that that's something to consider for employers.
I get it. I think working at home even brings that out, where it's hard to take breaks. You don't move very much. I mean, I had to force myself. I exercise a lot in the middle of the day now. Otherwise, I could potentially not get up for 10 hours at a time. And that is unhealthy to do. We know that, but I don't know that it's less productive to do, though. That's where I struggle. And I know there's cases to be made for that. I do. I've listened to podcasts, I've read books, I've interviews about how you can only be productive at your peak productivity for so long, right? But I don't know. I don't know where that line is.
I think some people are better than others, but yeah, that's basically what I subscribe to. Is I think that it's something to consider, that you can only work at 100% for so long. So I think that's where the 4-day work week really boils down to, is people arguing that they're only 80% productive for 5 days, where they could be 100% productive for 4 days and get the same amount of work done. I don't know.
All right, make the case. Last chance. We're almost at an hour.
I think we've made all the cases.
I don't think we're getting a 4-day work week.
The better argument is to have a flexible 8-hour day, 5 days a week. I have no idea what that means. What's a flexible 8-hour day?
Start at 10 and you work 2 days because you got to do something in the morning, or we
tried that, right? Well, so we did. We tried that to some degree, and then what if we need to have a meeting? What if everyone needs to hear the same information? I think the problem, more than anything else, like,
to be fair, that was in the office,
side, right? Because we don't have to agree on that. Although we'll just put aside that there's a cohesiveness that has to be there. And if you have employees coming and going with no consistency, and you can't all get together at once, it just the business isn't going to flow and work as well, depending on what it is you do. If you work autonomously. So you guys, for example, when you're working on marketing things, I don't know when you start and when you end. And I don't care. I don't know if you're gone during the day doing something else. I mean, if it becomes a trend, I'll probably pick up on it, right? If you're not achieving and producing the same level of work. But I would argue you have a lot of flexibility, right? Right now. But then there's other jobs that just don't afford that. If you are part of a team, if you have, if you, like in recruiting and sales, if the recruiter's on one schedule and the salesperson's on another, it's just not going to work. You have to be able to communicate. And I would argue, Peter, you have to be accessible to all the people you support, right? If you're not there, that's a problem. And we're not big enough. You don't have a backup for what you do. You could argue that's a problem too, but that's the plight of a small business, right? That every individual serves a very important role. So, I think flexibility is restricted for a number of reasons.
Well, remote work is also contributes a lot to that. Like having things like, Slack or your just your emails on your phone and always being accessible. I think that goes a long way towards that. But there are a lot of problems. I mean, we work with vendors who are in different time zones and stuff, and they might not be working in the morning, or they might be, we can't, if it's after 3 p.m., maybe they're, asleep or something like that because they're on the other side of the world. So that's not something that we're like unfamiliar with.
All right. I just love that like half our team is on here, being extremely productive, using themselves in the chat. So, okay. Here's the thing. I will extend the window to keep, make the case, make this productivity case. I'm open for it, but it has to be tangible, right? So let me ask this: if every Four Corner employee who is on listening, open to end up with a 4-day work week right now, are you willing to be held to higher metrics and standards if you work fewer hours? Are you willing to make that trade? Because what I've heard, the case that's been made is that everyone's more productive if they work less. So then, can you commit to being held to deliver greater results?
Well, they're saying they're more productive, but they're doing the same amount of work. So if they've got to make, if somebody's in sales and they've got to make 100 calls, if they do
that's not what I heard. I heard I was more productive. I'm more productive if I only work 32 hours.
You're more productive, but you're only more productive for 4 days.
I know the level of work you produce in 40 hours.
Okay.
Ergo, if you work 32 hours,
you produce that level
more productive, right?
No, you're saying you produce the same amount that you would in 40 hours. You can produce that amount in 32 hours.
Oh, that's the argument. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard more productive. That's what I'm.
You are more productive because you're producing the same amount in less time.
I feel like I can't say I have to test it out.
Huh?
I feel like I can't say I have to test it out.
All right, I'm going to need a couple of weeks of that. I need to test it out.
That was part one. Part two is you have to get all of our competition to agree to only work 4 days and have our customers commit to continue to do business with us.
People don't hire 1 day a week and everyone closes and all that.
Right. Okay, so I think we're good. I don't know where we ended up.
Next topic. Do we know it
well,
yet?
So this is, we have a lot of people in our comment section right now. What do you guys want to see? I do have a topic ready, micromanaging. I feel like that's going to be a good one. But if you guys, since we have some people in there right now in our comments, comment what you would like to hear us debate about. If you're around. Yeah. And also follow our
what's the topic on micromanaging? Is someone making a case for it?
The case for it's actually horrible bosses. It's horrible bosses, and then we just talk about horrible micromanaging bosses and why they're bad. Isn't that a movie, Horrible Bosses?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't know that anyone's making a case for micromanaging, though, Ashley. I don't know.
Are we just talking about why it's bad?
Some people do want to micromanage their employees.
Do some employees need to be micromanaged? That's the question.
I guess we'll have to talk about it.
Okay. I guess we will. I guess that's where we
are. Unless there's a consensus.
Research. I mean, would you? I mean, you don't.
I don't have to do any research anymore. You're just making your research makes the case.
Bring some TikTok videos and
talk about a time you were micromanaged. I'll bring some TikTok videos. We got this.
All right. If you disagree with us, drop a comment that tells us a better topic. If you otherwise,
unless our viewers,
please give us a better topic than that.
Drop it in our comment section. How about dealing with micromanagement in the workplace that is unlabeled-denied?
Oh man, we could talk about micromanagement, I guess, because I would argue my perspective on micromanagement is it's the only time it's applied is when it's needed. It should not be needed ever.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different thing.
Again, all our viewers follow our Four Corner Resources LinkedIn page and also follow Four Corner Resources sister website, ZenGig. We're also on LinkedIn. Follow us and comment and let us know what you want to hear us debate about. If you don't want to hear us debate about micromanagement, then
yes,
hit that like button.
We would. Pete does not want to. All right, goodbye.
Oh, someone said similar topic: flexible hours versus set schedules.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I got all these written down. So
stay tuned.
Remember, this is Gen XYZ. It's not what employees want to get their employer to agree to. That is not what this show is about, and it's certainly not about.
This is just us giving our random opinions on why we think we don't do things.
Okay, Dylan says working less. Look at Dylan coming full circle with this. Is Dylan, where's Dylan? Is he Y or Z?
Dylan is Y.
Dylan, are you a millennial? Please don't tell me you are.
Dylan's like my age.
Ugh.
Dylan's a millennial. All right. So goodbye. Thank you
Right.
for hanging with us today. This was fun, and we'll see you next week.
See you
See you
guys.
guys next week.